Welcome to LEEZFEED. My name is Lee Coleman. I'm the host of this show, this program. I'm surrounded by some distinguished young brothers here tonight. And tonight we want to talk about the state of the DBE program and other minority programs with reference to DEI, if you want to call it that. We got a new administration in, and they're already kicking at it. I talked to several people, and they think, for some reason, I want you guys' opinion. So first, let's introduce ourselves. On the far left to me.
David Jackson with ABBCA spokesperson.
Okay.
Mikhail Ali with ABBCA.
Okay.
Jeff White with ABBCA, Vice President.
Okay. Yeah, I want you guys to take on what you think the to-be administration is how he's gonna deal with DEI. So we have some trouble. We have some problems. Everybody's trying to destroy it. A Kentucky judge already put a temporary injunction on the program with reference to 2 prime contractors. And if those 2 contractors bid in any state, it has to be a 0 minority and female goal in any state. So right now they're in a few states, about 15 to 16 states. Mm-hmm. And if they just even go out to participate in a contract letting, it has to be a 0 goal. So you have race conscious and race neutral. So they're saying it should be race neutral and gender neutral. Okay, so what is your take on the DEI program, if you want to call it that, the DBE program? They're all the same. Minority participation, where people are saying, we need a chance. And here's the thing that I get all the time. Are they qualified? Are they qualified? So what is your take on it?
It's strange because they never tell you when they say what are the qualifications or if the firm is qualified, because they don't know. Mm-hmm. Any firm, if they're in business, is qualified to do the work. Mm-hmm. Now, can they do the work? That's the different story. With this DEI, it amazes me that it seems like every time there's a new administration or a new thought process, they come up with different titles now. We've never thought that it never should have been with the initials MWBE. It should have been Black WBE, because the whole program as it relates to minorities was set up because of Black companies not being afforded an opportunity to bid and to win these contracts. Not the Asians, not the Hispanics, not the Bosnians, but it was for Blacks. And so if you want to go back to that, it's just like with the Republicans, what they're doing now. They've been talking since the first George Bush was in office about doing away with race gender programs. They wanted to look at it as the almost as the DBE program and make it your personal finance eligibility rather than just the color of your skin. They wanted to make it based upon your personal wealth or your personal income. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's such a bad idea. It's just how do you do it? I like.
In what way are you saying it's based on income?
It's almost like the DBE program. When it first came out, you couldn't have a person. You couldn't have a personal wealth or income of your company of $750,000.
Right.
And that's changed.
Okay, it's 1.5 now.
Yeah, they raised everything. So, they've got a program now with the Department of HUD called the Section 3. And that is income or economic based.
Okay.
And that has been working wonders because it afford these Section 3 companies a cushion when they're bidding on these projects, and nobody can just create one of those companies because it's directly based upon your income.
Okay, so I'm going to challenge you on that. Okay, so why is it that because they're Black that they're disadvantaged? That's going to be the argument.
They're not disadvantaged, but what
I mean by disadvantage, I'm saying The program was set up based on, it's called a disadvantaged business enterprise.
DBE.
So they're saying you're disadvantaged.
Mhm.
Okay, so you say it should be based on Black, not Hispanics, not women, white women, and things of that nature. So why should that be the case?
I think if they're talking about doing away with MWB, period, that's going to destroy a lot of our small minority mom and pop businesses.
Okay.
It's going to wipe them out. Keep the program, but now specifically make it for Blacks, because that's who's been missing out of this quotation for years. Blacks cannot succeed in getting these contracts. We have an uphill battle every time.
Okay, if you work hard and do what you're supposed to do and stay out of trouble, you can achieve the American dream, even if you're Black.
Who said
What do you say to that argument?
I don't agree with that
Come
one
on,
at
come on
all.
with it. Come
I
on.
don't agree with that one at all.
But that's what they're saying.
No,
is-
I know. I understand
Okay.
that's what they say.
Okay, so
And that's the
defend
use
that.
of it. But the statistics, and I'm a math man. You know, I'm a bricklayer. I always say that. I go back to the math. The math doesn't say it. The math, if you look at the disparaging study, it constantly come back saying that we're not in the equal amount of pay, whether it be men or women, Black especially. We're not in the equal amount of jobs, whether it be men or women. We're not in the equal amount of employment. And when they do the big number of unemployed, they come back with this one number. Well, it's like 5.4, 3.1, whatever the number may be. But they taking a general look at things, but they're not doing the micro and looking at our neighbors, looking at our people. They're not doing that.
When you do those disparity studies, I think they do get in.
No, the disparity study
That's what I'm
said
saying.
it shows that.
Okay.
But they don't accept the disparity study. They want to make it a big general thing. Another thing that Dave said, and our leader Mikhail have often said this, is what I see in this is our people that we put in politics that are supposed to be representing us. They've been into that, what you said, this American dream. They're saying, well, if you work hard, you lace your boots up and you pull your pants up and you go to work and you grind, you'll succeed. That's the American way. That's the American dream. Okay, but the problem is that's not dispensed out equally. And it's proven time and time and time again. And then so you have, like Mikhail says, the fight has never stopped. And then we had a meeting with the St. Louis board, and Dave jumped up and said, well, when did it start? When did the fight ever start? I mean, we got past civil rights, and then all of a sudden, what happened? We still fighting. We're still fighting the civil rights. Okay?
Yeah, the folks that kept saying that what's going on now is because they're trying to do away with MWBE, it's going to turn the hands of the clock back. Those hands never moved.
They never moved.
They never moved.
Okay, Mikhail, introduce yourself to us.
Mikhail Ali,
Okay.
president of ABBCA. No matter what title you call it, DBI, MBE, whatever, whatever they want to label they want to put on this thing, the reason why it had to be created because of what they did to us. See, we have to understand. You remember Jerry Lewis telethon?
Right.
He had the telethon for who? Handicapped kids. The program is set up for handicapped business people because of hundreds of years of them denying us what other American white citizens had access to the American dream. It was never American dream for us.
Never.
And they made sure we could never grasp it. Now, it was always American fight. And our biggest problem is, Lee, that we get so daggone comfortable, we don't see the signs when they coming. When they went to the colleges.
It was coming.
And we should have peeped that. See, we start getting comfortable, we make a few dollars. They never stop figuring out how to X us out. And we don't believe that that society of people could be that devious.
Well, they proving that to us.
Yeah,
What more do they need to do? They have buck breaking. They raped our daughters. They killed us. They lynched us. They burned us at stake. So what more do we need to understand
that's not,
to know how
you got
devious and evil this man is?
And we act like we don't get it, that he has changed. So the problem,
But he has changed.
yeah,
I beg to differ with you, my leader.
yeah,
He has changed. He's slicker. He's wiser. He's smoother.
he's got
He's more
adapted.
cunning.
Yes,
He's
yes.
more, he does everything way different now. He's not sending dogs out there on the street to bite you. He's not shooting fire hoses out there on the street to stop you. He's not doing none of that stuff. His brother used to say this is colder than the dope game. Well, why did I used to try to figure out what did he mean? This is cola. Well, if you look at the dope game, it's just a very small micro part of the society. But if I hold back employment for so many people, I'm choking out a lot of people. If I shut down one business, how many black families or minority families have I killed? It's colder than the dope game.
But do you think we've lost that
Fight.
ingenuity that we had with Rosewood and Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma?
Yes.
Are we still doing that? Have we lost that
Camaraderie.
ingenuity?
Yes, we
and
have.
togetherness?
Yes, we have.
Yes.
Yes, we have. We didn't really understand what King was saying. You know, case in point, when I was out there about a month ago protesting at City Hall, a black person told me that protesting is over with. I said, "You crazy?"
Mhm.
And she meant it.
Yeah.
See, as bad as they are, we have a responsibility, like other ethnic groups, to don't forget what brought us to the table, what brought us where we at, and that's fighting, organizing. Because in this day and time right now, I've never seen it where I've always seen it where they're trying to destroy the construction end of it. But on that side, on the left, then on the right, all corporate America is doing out a diversity program all at the same time. It was like I was telling Jeff, like Wars of the World. What it looked like they were just waiting for Trump to come back in, and we got him this time. And if you look at it, it looks bad.
So when are we going to do our homework? Okay, I was debating with another young brother,
And that's an important thing there.
yeah, we didn't the Ashkenazi Jews, the white Europeans in Israel. That's who they are. They came.
That's
came
right.
from
That's right.
Yeah,
Eastern Europe, and the originals came out of Africa.
right.
That's
The
right.
Hebrews,
That's
and
right.
The tribe of Judah, the
Yeah.
Falasha,
That's right.
the Igbo, and the Limba. Those are
Yeah.
African people who wore the
Right.
yarmulke
Yeah,
That's
way
right.
before the Ashkenazis out
Yeah.
of Europe. But they taught their people never again.
correct.
And they were never afraid to say that. You got black people now that I encounter, I've seen them on TV, they are afraid to use the word racism.
Yes.
They've psyched us out.
Psyched us out. See,
They
they
say
were slick.
you can't say racism.
Right.
No, it's every reason except, even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said, it's class. It's not racism. He
See,
said that.
yeah, yeah.
But
My Lord.
I'm like Dr. Cloud Anderson. With all this racism around here, you can't find one racist.
And this
Nobody.
But you know, Mikhail was saying that again. I go back to what Mikhail tell our particular group is that be prepared for the fight and be ready to fight, because there are people out here that don't want to fight.
Why is that? Because I think we failed. We got the hip hop generation. I argued with my nephew about this. We got the hip hop generation that are now at least 50 years old. Some of them a lot their parents, their uncles, their aunts, and some are grandparents. When I taught school, I saw guys come with their parents hanging down, bringing their sons to school. That's the hip hop generation. We allowed them to take over our music in every aspect of the black community. And we didn't train them to even have any empathy or sympathy for their ancestors. When I go to a store, I see a young brother, he walk by this old man with a great beard and wouldn't even speak, just look past you. We didn't do that back in the 60s and 70s.
Nope.
But we haven't taught them anything. They
Or
don't
the
have any
80s.
empathy for us because we didn't lay it on thick like we should have to teach them about. You have any empathy for Harriet Tubman? Sojourner Truth? You know what they went through? You think you got to work in Walmart because you were so smart and intelligent? Then somebody come before you, got clubs upside the head, got killed, got lynched, and everything in order for you to get the right to work there. But you have no connection with those people.
Yeah.
We failed in that regard.
And Lee, what's even worse, they don't want to know.
Well, no, we got to teach them. If you
I
teach
know.
the
I'm
kids,
just saying.
they don't want to know
they
now
don't wanna
because
know.
they've come of age. But we,
Yes.
like you taught your kid to walk.
Yes.
You know, I tell these youngsters, man, you think you're so damn smart. Somebody had to teach you where to go crap. You didn't come here crapping on the stool.
Right.
Somebody taught you to go to that stool, right?
That's right.
So, but I think it's our fault. I don't think we laid it
definitely
out
agree with that.
because, you know.
So then, if that's the case, Lee, I'm one that say, what caused that? What was the cause to that? For the disconnect from one generation to the next?
Because we thought we overcame.
That's
and we've
it.
been into that we've been into that American dream.
We
So
overcame.
they got smart. They said, all we really got to do is just pay you and him, and they'll do the rest.
Thinking they're doing it in Africa.
Yeah.
They pay the leaders off, and that's the end of it.
And they'll do the rest.
Here in America, I was telling Jeff earlier, we seem to only operate better when we the underdog, when we in segregation,
Yes.
when we
If we understand what that is now. I've taught school, and I got young brothers and sisters who don't know what racism is.
Yeah, well, we did,
We did.
and we operated.
They don't really understand when they see racism. That is scary.
Yes.
Right.
It's very
Do
scary.
you know there's a young man that I know? When did we ever accept? I'm 73. I'll be 73 in April. When did we ever accept somebody call us the N-word? We couldn't even say it at home when I was a kid. If
Yeah.
you said that
Same
word,
here.
Right.
that was a curse word in my
That
family.
was a curse
Same
word.
here.
Okay?
Same here.
So now they got black kids saying, oh, you can say
with
nigga, but not with the hard ER.
It didn't
We
make a
wouldn't allow that.
No.
They say it with impunity.
But we wouldn't allow that.
Right. No, we wouldn't have.
No.
So I know a kid a white guy, that was like in grade school. He wanted to use that word so badly. He paid this young brother, I think it was $65 so that he could say it. I'll give you, can I say it? And he took the money, call him with the so-called hard ER. What has happened to us, man?
Well,
We let gangster rap knock Motown off.
Now, see, that goes back to the premise, doesn't it, Lee? So then that person that he paid $65 to sold his ethnic for $65.
Yeah. And that's what's got us partially in the shape that we're in now. But I think the lack of education, because I tell people, those were young teenagers who filled up those jail cells. Even they had taken the ballparks and incarcerated them because there were teenagers out there doing that.
Yes, sir. It was.
You know what I did? You see my Illinois stuff up there? When I went to Illinois in 71, we were all teenagers.
Yeah.
No, we did, because of what we were taught, what we saw, and our feeling for our ancestors. We started a program to collect all term papers, books, notes, and everything. We formed a program called Maji. And Maji was a revolution in Africa. Maji is the Swahili word for water, but we formed an organization called Maji. And they were taking our activity fees, and they were giving white-oriented activities. So here we are, teenagers, petition to have our money come out. And we formed an organization. We had black-oriented activities. And we formed an organization, and we looked out for our incoming freshmen. We were only freshmen when we started our organization. So I tell this young brother I always debate with, where's your Martin Luther King? Where's your Malcolm X? Where's your Marcus Garvey? Where are they?
As a matter of fact, if we look back in history, from the late 50s to the 60s and 70s, King them started their leadership young.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm started their leadership young. Fred Hampton, young. Huey Newton, young. The changing of the guard had happened. Here come the young generation. We didn't have no young ones falling behind us.
We didn't teach them.
We didn't. Something
And
happened.
where was the church's role in this? You know,
Yeah.
the church used to be our meeting place.
That's
The
correct.
pastors were activist pastors.
That's correct.
I'm a former Illinois Department of Transportation
Yeah.
EEO officer.
Yeah.
So we got together and I said, I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna form the District 8, that's my district, the second largest district in the state. I had $1 billion of contracts in my 12 counties that I had to administer the minority participation program. And I went to these pastors. I couldn't get anybody on board. It wasn't for me. I left them making 6 figures. But I'm saying I went to the pastors. That's why I'm hard on the church. Because what are you doing? Because you got the only regular meeting in our communities.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I've always said, in my humble opinion, when they killed King, they scared all of them preachers. It seemed like they all went underground and submitted, you know, and got into different programs and put their self-service first before the community, because they wasn't willing to pay that price that King paid. Same thing with Malcolm. When that happened to Malcolm, if it hadn't been for Huey and Stokely take up some slack, but then how long did that road go? When they start killing them off, the so-called revolutionaries became something that didn't have a lion with no roar.
Okay, you know what I think it was? I think it was that. It may have been that, but I think that we got so hyped up into religion and we were thinking that somebody was going to come and deliver us. I think that was a big part of it too. I remember the case of Botham in Texas, when this white female police officer came into his apartment and chased him while he was eating some ice cream on his couch and killed him.
I remember that.
Okay, what did the black bailiff do? Combed her hair.
I remember that.
What did the black female judge do? Gave her a Bible. What did his brother do? Can I hug you?
I remember
She's
that.
not the victim. She killed an innocent man in his own apartment. I think we've gotten so religious.
Yes.
I'm not against religion. I'm just saying we've gotten so religious. God didn't have much mercy on them folks in the Old Testament that was doing wrong. He took care of business. So are we better than God?
Immediately too.
Are we better than?
No,
Huh?
you could take the book, either book, Torah,
All of them.
Bible, and Quran. You could either take the word to wake them up, or you could take the word and put them to sleep. It depends on the leader. And they've taken the word and put our people to sleep.
And where's the activist preachers? Like I said, here.
I see it differently though.
Okay.
I see it differently. I see it the same, but I don't see it in a. I see on a grand scale. There's a spiritual things about it. I definitely feel that. But where I feel that our people were is, if you look at this country in the time we're talking about, once we got out of slavery, then we went right into Jim Crow. You know what I mean? And then once we got into Jim Crow, we went right into civil rights. And then from there, our folks really had galvanized together from all walks of the Black American experience, whether it was what religion you was, okay? And we was all fighting for about the same causes, 5 or 6 different causes for, going to school like you did, having jobs without being discriminated upon, about, being able to live wherever you wanted to live. You know what I mean? So we had and now we had 2 causes that we still fight today. Cops whooping our heads, which our kids, our young adults today still will march on that.
But let me ask you a question though. Here we are, 4 black men.
But I think it's money, Lee.
Let me say, 4 black men sitting here. Why is it that every prosperous racial group, the Hispanics are prosperous, the so-called Jews are prosperous? They got a philosophy. They didn't have one leader.
I get that,
Okay,
but we
now-
got lazy.
Now, hear what I'm saying. Why is it that the 4 of us really can't come to a consensus as to what's wrong?
I think it's lazy.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. So we
But
got.
I get you.
We got to be together, man.
I know, and
I get you.
let me give you this scenario, how I see it. And it came from a guy that was our keynote speaker when I graduated. And they introduced this guy, and he was black, and they gave him such an unbelievable presentation how many degrees he had, how long he been going to school. We're sitting there saying, well, my God, this guy ain't had time to do anything but to go to school. And what he told me stuck with me throughout. I'm 67, and it stuck through me since I graduated, 17 years of age. And he said there was 3 men climbing up a mountain, white man, a black man, and an Indian. And they kept a backpack across their shoulder. And they kept falling down off that mountain, getting back up, falling down, getting back up. Finally, they made it to the top of the mountain. And the Indian opened his bag and started taking out bricks, and sitting them on the side of the mountain. And so the white man looked over to him and he pulled out a rope and he set the rope to the side of the mountain. The black man pulled out pieces of steel and he set them on the side of the mountain. And all of a sudden, the Indian took his bricks and was looking over and throwing them down to the side of the mountain because he seen other people coming up and he didn't want to get up. The black man who had bricks, who had steel, did the same thing. And so the white man over there scratching his head, and he says, I don't understand you guys. You knew our struggle coming up the side of this mountain. It was hell getting up here. That's why I brought a rope, because I'm letting my rope down to help the next person come up a lot easier. We the only people that don't do that.
We're taught to be
We don't
different.
do that.
We're taught to be different. But here's the thing I'm saying. I agree. But since it's a little different now because young blacks are not going to church as they used to.
Nope.
No.
But there was a
And
time-
if they are going to church, Lee, I'll qualify that. If they are going to church, they're going to multicultural churches,
Mhm.
No,
multi-race.
no.
Yes.
And the
But
number-
my point is that I think we missed the boat. We had an opportunity to indoctrinate our kids into loving themselves and fighting for the cause and honoring their ancestors' fight. I think we lost that.
Yeah.
And we
gotta
did, but you know,
And
you
we
know,
got to re-educate. Here's the thing I say. Our biggest job today is the re-education of the black man and woman.
but that's the problem, Lee. Our young people, they're lost simply because we as fathers were so busy out there hustling and trying to make money to take care of the family. We didn't have time to sit down with our sons and daughters and teach them the way. We didn't. We just didn't have the
But you
time.
know what the study says?
Yeah, but
A study shows that on average, I can't quote the name of the study, but on average, a black father spends more time with his children than his white counterpart. I think that could be
But
used
what
as
time is that? But what time is it? Is it a quality time? Is it just chilling, watching TV? Is it playing the games? It's what type of
I
time?
understand that, but I think that's part of it. But I think the bigger picture is we've changed our philosophy. We don't think we have to fight anymore. We've made it.
well, like I speak to my kids every day, all of them. I got four kids and 7 grandkids. And I speak to them every day. What they tell me is that one, we're trying to get the bag. And whoever teaches us how to get that bag, that's who we follow. It's about cash. I keep going back to that. It's about cash.
But it couldn't be about
Now
cash.
you might want to say it's spiritual, and you might want to say our spiritual leaders are letting us down. But the black youth today, they want that, like they said, we want the bag.
But isn't it funny though?
Now
That black woman right there in that picture, my mama, Sarah Coleman, she was a very spiritual woman, but she would teach me how to get up and get it.
oh, of course.
Get up
And,
get
and,
it.
and that's what I taught.
And
And that's-
principles.
exactly.
But you
And
know what you
have
compete
morals.
against? Here's the disadvantage to us that gives us a slight excuse for our failure. They got these computers, they got the TikTok, they got stuff that when we go teach them,
Yeah.
they got some stuff,
I
man,
say it all the time.
that we're competing against. We didn't have that when we were kids. And, you know,
Exactly.
No.
Mama told me something that okay. Then the man down the alley told me the same thing, Mr.
Right.
Arthur.
Right.
And so I was surrounded by being inundated with
Right.
This is what you need to do. But now we got kids who.
But see, Lee, you went to school, correct? You
Mhm.
went to college. You went to higher education.
Mhm.
Dave, you went to higher education, correct? I did not. Lee, Mikhail, did you?
No.
All right. Now, Mikhail said something to me today that really stuck out in my thoughts, and I thought about that, and it came up tonight, and that is about the very first DEI or whatever you want to call it. They went after is higher education.
Mm-hmm.
Let's block them from that. Let's don't give them money to go to school. Now you look at the statistics, going back to the math, black enrollment in colleges has dropped like a rock. Now, let's go back 20 years, 30 years, your turn. When you was getting education, you came out saying what? You came out saying what? I got make for my family and help the blacks. So like Mikhail was saying today, Jeff, when they shut us off from the water or the well of knowledge, they just hurting us all the way down the ladder.
Yeah.
And so then the ones that are in college, like the Clarence Thomas, don't want to fight for us.
What I was taught, even when I played basketball, this was the older guys taught me. And I still think we fail. This is what they taught me. Older guys will come to our practices and things like that. They say, hey, if you get a chance to go to college and the coach wants you to try out, take somebody with you. This is really what they taught us. You know, so I had a chance to go to Hannibal LaGrange Junior College to try out. When the coach called me, you know what I told him? I got a center who's 6'7", named Earl Stevenson. He's got to come with me. And he did. Now, he didn't like Earl, but he kind of liked me, but I didn't go. I ended up going to Illinois. And I had a chance to go to Fisk, but my point is that we were just taught differently. I don't think we do that enough. And it's a hard thing not to crack, to get them to accept what we're saying. I just don't see that being taught today. And I'm going to go back to the church. The preachers got to, you know, they got that power, man. They've got to teach that.
But now another part of it I think is important is what Mikhail has said, and I hate to keep putting you on the spot, Mikhail, but it's very important, and that is we got to teach our community leaders to fight, and they're scared to fight now. That's what I seen the other day. They're worried about Kehoe, the governor. They're worried about Trump. And they're worried about them taking the diversity plan. But and that's fine. But when we went to that state, that lawyer said, well, if you want to take away the diversity for the minorities, are you going to take away the diversity for the vets? You see my point? His thinking, his rationale flipped. And I'm saying, okay, if you're going to take our diversity for the minorities, then we're just going to make sure that our community leaders, aldermen and council members, fund their constituents. Get in there and fight for your constituents. They can't stop that.
What about the? Okay, go ahead.
We're coming up on King's anniversary, January 20th.
That's correct.
And if you notice, the narrative about King's life is reduced to just a dream.
And a spun.
Because they've allowed Europeans to tell the story.
Yes.
Nobody tells the European Jew story but the European Jew. Nobody tells the Irish their story but the Irish, and so on and so on. Our enemies are those who call themselves so-called liberals who run the media, want to tell our story, and they want to tell it the way they want to tell it. They won't tell the level King was at before the bullet hit him. He was fighting for economic equality.
That's right.
See, and so when you allow people to tell your story, the young people hear it and said, I could give you the whole thing, Daddy, about I had a dream. They ain't talking about King said we're gonna have to boycott for economic equality. They don't tell the story where Malcolm was at. They want to talk Malcolm from 55, 56, 58, because the European is telling Malcolm's story. If Lee goes and we don't tell Lee's story, who gonna tell Lee's story? They are CNN, blue, blue, blue. And that's one of our biggest
Well,
problems with our
here's the
children.
deal on that though. We had BET, he sold it.
Yeah.
We got Brian, what Brian's last name now? Young brother is in the media.
So what?
I'm saying can we own a station?
Oh, okay. I'm with you now.
Can we own a station? We got fan base now. Isaac Hayes' son has created fan base. That's the equivalent to or competition to Facebook and X.
I didn't
Well,
know
let me
that.
ask you
See,
this,
that's
Lee.
new.
Do we have the courage to own the station? And why I say that is because I was sitting back and waiting when not the Lakers, what's the other LA team out in California?
Golden State.
No.
Warriors?
That's Golden State.
No. That's in LA. It's two teams in LA.
Oh, sure is. Clippers.
The Clippers and the owner made that racial statement,
I remember that.
and then they kicked him out.
Right.
And I'm gonna sit back and see if Oprah and all the brothers and sisters gonna buy this team, right? We didn't buy the
But
team.
we're not teaching that. We're not teaching.
That's the problem, Lee. I think they got some money and they scared to go beyond this, okay? To be ownerships.
Look how long it took Beyonce to endorse Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Look how long it took Barack Obama to do it.
Yes.
He didn't come right out. He should have been hand over fist for that lady.
And
now, I don't agree with all the policies and all the things she did, but she was much more qualified than a 34 felony convicted Donald Trump and the rapist and the swindler and the grifter that he is.
And I believe why they didn't to the late is because of fear. You know, we scared.
There you go.
Because Oprah, good as sweet as she is, and had Harpo, she was working for the King brothers or whatever that was. So she made some billions, but she was an employee.
Well, we should punish people like that.
I agree with
because
you.
check this out.
Yes.
I keep telling my nephew, we were afraid at the threat of being lynched.
Yes.
Okay, and they still do some things to it, but Oprah is not afraid of being lynched. Obama's not afraid of being lynched. These pastors not afraid of being. They still doing it. Don't get me wrong, but that's not the biggest fear. It's accommodating the narrative that we see out here. Well, look, I'm not going to use the word race. That's a race card. What? It's racism.
I beg to differ with you. They afraid to be lynched economically. Soon as Bill Cosby said he wanted to buy NBC,
they went after him with
they lynched his behind.
I understand that.
And they scared of that power. It's not the physical lynching. It's that you ain't said what I want you to say. I'm gonna make you.
If I'm worth $450 million, I'm not afraid. If I'm worth $450 million,
if
I got $1 billion, I'm not afraid.
No, if you got no dollars, or you got $1, or you got $1 billion,
Lee ain't
because you got more.
We gotta. Like I tell my wife all the time. She said, "What are they doing about that?" I said, "What are the people doing about it? What are we doing about it?" When we got, you know what? I'm not saying it should be this drastic, but what did Winnie Mandela do for those sellouts?
Oh, she put a tie in it with a fire. The necklace.
Now, I'm not saying do that, but I'm saying we've got to punish the people. Do you know that right now in the state of Illinois, has put ABBCA, which is a Hispanic equivalent to a chamber, and the Hispanic chamber itself, they're in the state budget.
Yes.
They're getting money, straight up.
Yeah.
Now, the Illinois State Black Chamber, which I'm a part of, and I know the president, this guy he's for his people.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting any money from the state. Now, where is the black legislators? And then where are the citizens?
There you go.
Who should be mad about the fact we hire the citizens, right?
Right.
Guess what? Quid pro quo. You do what we ask you to do, or you go next time.
There you go, Lee.
We're not doing it.
That's what we're not doing.
And I'm gonna say this. Now I got the stick on. I was kind of raised on this because I came out the old Nation of Islam, and Elijah Muhammad used to say, and people didn't hear it. He said, "The white man is your open enemy, but fear is your greatest enemy." Black man's always been feared. He's afraid. He's afraid. He's afraid of losing his comfort. or whatnot. That's why they do what they do. They watch when Kanye made the statement and them Jews all got together and he went from a billionaire to a
But see,
millionaire.
why don't we do the same thing?
That's
Why don't we do the same thing? We get somebody like Byron, what's his name in Florida, and
Byron
Tim
Nelson.
Scott. Hey man, put some on that butt.
yes.
How you gonna do what you put some on Byron's butt, man?
What's his name? Byron Allen?
Byron Allen, think
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the channel.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he bought a channel, didn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about Byron Allen. I'm talking
He talking
about
about
I'm talking about that
Congress.
state rep, the U.S. rep.
Yeah, the U.S.
I'm not talking Byron Allen. Byron
I thought
Allen
it
is
was
trying to do
Byron-
some things. I
Byron
understand.
It has okay.
No, I'm
yeah.
talking about and Tim Scott.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I
man.
know what you're talking
Oh,
about.
And
man.
still didn't get a call for a potential
And
cabinet spot.
and ran up there, and Trump didn't know what he was gonna do. He said, "What you doing?" He said, "I
love
love you." You remember him saying,
Nikki Haley is the one that put him in the spot, and he went against Nikki Haley, which I don't have too much respect for,
Yeah.
because she's a big liar.
"Yeah."
And
Okay.
he still, after she put him in, she pointed him to take some at his place. Either died or they got out of the.
They got in
Senate.
trouble or
And
something.
she appointed him,
Right.
and the person who appointed him,
Brought him to the dance.
he gonna go against them for
Yes,
Trump.
Yes, and that's another problem. You hit it. We don't punish them.
Well, no,
The ones that cross us.
and that right there tickles me because they do, like
Yes.
you just said.
It's called behavior modification. You remember B.F. Skinner? I learned that in college, my minor in psychology.
Yeah.
You reward a good behavior with good consequences and the negative with negative.
Yeah.
That's how you train a dog. You don't have to beat on the dog. I used to train police dogs.
Yeah.
I had a pocket full of feed that they liked, and I had a choke chain. That's all I had. I didn't beat my dogs. And you ask my wife, I had 3 or 4 dogs at the same time do whatever I told them to do because of the behavior modification. And so if you are running for office, like the guy that ran against Cory Booker, not Cory Booker, what's the name in St. Louis? The young prosecutor that ran against Bush.
Ran again.
Oh, you talking about
Wesley Bell.
Wesley Bell.
Put some on it.
Oh, to me, I've said this many a
And
time.
I'm not talking about violence. I'm saying it's the ballot box.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't do what we say, we've elected you, then it's simple. You won't get that next term. You won't get that because the white constituents, they make certain that their leaders do exactly what they say.
That's right.
They
Good, bad,
do-
or indifferent.
And I want to say this too.
And if they don't,
Yeah.
they're gone.
And I want to say this. I can look up straight ahead and talk to the public, right?
Absolutely.
You don't stand up and come together, you're going to starve. And it's
Yes.
your own doggone fight. Because black folks got more faith in this white society destroying them than they do in God saving them.
That's right.
I agree with that.
I agree.
Like,
with
see,
that.
Here's something I always wondered. I told my wife about this the other day.
I agree with that 100%.
How in the world can agents come in your community and do nails and hair when that's something you've been doing all the time? But you start your hair and nail business.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is wrong? Because we've been taught to hate ourselves and everybody can do it but us.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it. I started a towing company without a towing truck
Yeah.
because I believe I could fly.
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying?
Same here.
And I said it's been 8 years.
You're right.
Same here.
You can do it. We
Yeah,
have
you
what,
can do
about
it.
1.5 trillion of our disposable income? We're the 9th largest nation in the world, 46 million blacks are the 9th largest nation when it comes to disposable income. We got more money than some nations.
I've never sold
And you know,
anything other than my labor.
yeah. And you,
I have a dream now becoming a merchant, selling material that I use to on Martin Luther King, open up my store, sell that material, rent scaffold out, rent equipment out. You know what I mean? And I got people like Mikhail and like the group here, Dave, that's gonna help me, find that financing to get that business up.
Check this out. Check this out.
But the point of it is, if I can dream it, I can do it.
Check this out. Let's go to your school board in St. Louis.
he knows
Did
something
you
about
steal
that.
it?
Okay, they purchase all types of goods and services. In the United States of America, when it comes to transportation, only 3% of the internal employees are black. When it comes to construction contracts, only 3%. 3%. Let's look at our local school districts. They buy paper, they buy toiletries, they buy, who's selling it to them?
At a great price.
You're
premium
supposed to go,
price.
we're supposed to go and create a business and demand a percentage of that doggone
Money.
money.
Right. No taxation without proper representation.
That's what we should be doing.
Yeah,
we don't do that. We just so divided. We're not, from slavery on, we have never been taught to be together.
Well, we came together at one particular time.
Right.
And that was the civil rights in the Martin Luther King and the Malcolm X. But and you know, we have been taught to hate one another.
Mm-hmm.
And it has carried on. It's still here today.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a
It's
brother.
still here
I
today.
will tell you this, Lee, and this goes back to what Nikhil said. The reason we don't see that happening is the blacks are afraid.
Yes, absolutely.
And I
They
still
are
say this here,
afraid to
afraid,
turn those contracts over to the black firm.
demand it.
The back.
You're right.
You're gonna look, I got a thing I tell people, and with the Black Chamber, create and maintain businesses. Create them where the needs are. They're selling office supplies in District 189 here in East St. Louis. Create a business around that
Right.
and demand a portion of that.
Right.
Because I was trying to get in, I got into building supplies and things like that. And I had, my supply was Georgia Pacific. Man, I had hell trying to get business from the school district. And one of the white guys that was supplying me with janitorials, he said, Lee, how in the hell you call yourself a Jew, the quote unquote Jew?
Yeah.
Because a Jew is not a race,
You're right.
is a group or a person
Right.
who practice Judaism. The first
Right.
5 books of the Bible, the Torah, the Pentateuch, am I right?
Right.
That's absolutely
So
right.
they've made it, even I went on AI, I said, tell me the difference if the Abrahamic religions is Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. That seems kind of strange that one man would do all that because they're diametrically different religions.
Right.
Okay, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so when I said, why is Jewish, the word Jewish refers to a race, but Christianity and Islam doesn't. And they came back and they said, well, they're an ethno-religion. They got culture and things that land into their beliefs. Can't you say the same about Muslims?
Yeah.
Can you say the same thing about Christians?
Of course.
Isn't it? If even in AI, they got all those algorithms at their disposal. It's still programmed to promote that a Jewish person is an ethnic person, as opposed to a Catholic or a Muslim being an ethnic. It's all ethnic
Yes,
and
that's
cultural.
correct.
Am I right?
That's
Right.
right. That's right.
I went at it 4 or 5 different ways. It still came back.
Yeah, but because he want to make himself look special to the world.
Well,
but one thing I say about him, only thing I respect about him, them suckers so stick together.
They stick together. It's something we don't do.
I don't mind his humanity. He's horrible in his humanity.
Look at the whole world.
Yeah.
And I want to get into what's going to be our remedy. The whole world sat back and watched the state of Israel, which was taken from the Palestinians,
Right.
who looked like me,
Right.
originally in 1948.
That's right.
Just took it. They wanted to go to the Congo first. You know about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Congo had been picked.
Right.
But they said, no, wait a minute, we don't want to go there. So they went to Palestine and they took it.
They took it. Nobody else wanted him.
They took it and then they adapted Judaism back about 800 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They appropriate what? Blues, jazz, our vernacular. And they also do the same thing to our religion. Because Limba wore yarmulkes and practiced Judaism way before.
Right.
Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had a brother who invited me to go to a ball game, right? We was up in the booth, and I came looking just like this.
Yeah.
The brother, I've been on the brother for 20-some years. Brother was scared to sit next to me.
I know he did. Yeah.
And I used to go walk with this female at my office when I was at IDOT. And so my wife made these kufis, man. I got some. She could turn out a kufi just like that.
Yeah.
And so when I walked with this black lady, and so her white coworker said, I'm going to pray for you because Lee's going to turn you into a Muslim. And I told her, I said, they ask you anything about what I wear, you need to come back and tell them to come see me.
Right.
Now, most folks, even black folks, don't understand what a kufi represents, right?
No, they
It
don't.
represents what? A king. It's a crown.
It's a crowd.
It has no religious connotation at all.
No.
Okay, that's what it means. And
You
so,
wear a kufi,
yeah, they wear a yarmulke.
yarmulke, but
Yarmulke.
but it could be almost because
Yeah,
Muslims
yeah.
wear, yeah.
And when they did Operation Moses and Operation Solomon, when Israel went over there in the 80s, and when they got to, they know who they know who they were.
Yeah.
The Israelis knew who they were. That's why they went into Ethiopia and grabbed them.
Right.
Yes,
And
they
check
did.
this out. So this black man who practiced Judaism, which some people call Jews, they told him, you got to stand up, put your hand on your heart, and you got to say a pledge in order for you to become a full-fledged Jew. The brother said, what the hell are you talking? I never saw a white Jew in my damn life.
Right. Right.
So we got to get it. We got to get it together, man. But what is going to be the solution
Okay.
to fight this? We just clearly articulated the problem. Now, what is the solution?
There's a couple points that's definitely got to be done. One, like what we're doing here is got to be done more and more and more. And
So what do you call this?
This podcast?
Okay, what do you call it though?
It's a media outlet.
Okay,
It's
well, what is it
communication.
called?
Spreading the message.
Spreading the message.
It's education.
I call
Okay,
it
education.
I call it education.
That's what I
It's
wanna
the
call
same
it,
thing
yeah.
I do with my Facebook page. I try to educate my community. That's all it's going to do.
That's all we can. But
So that's number one.
education,
Two,
education.
you got to get the younger groups to hear it. You got to find what they want to know, what they're trying to
You have to
achieve.
reach it.
You got to
You
reach
reach
them because now understand that they want to get the bag. That's what my kids say. They call it. They want their cash. Now, so then therefore you got to appeal to that. Excuse me.
I don't mind them getting the bag.
No.
I want them to get the bag.
But you gotta appeal to that. You gotta say, okay, we'll show you how to get the bag, but it's gonna take an effort. Okay. And then the third thing we're gonna have to do, and this one I'm gonna turn over to Mikhail, and I think Mikhail's doing a wonderful job at this, is trying to knock the fear out of people. You got to get out of this fearful mind. And then we have our communicator, and I'll let him talk on how we're gonna communicate it to the group. So go ahead, Mikhail.
You know,
How do we alleviate the fear?
and that's a good question.
It is.
But I tell you one thing for me. See that man right there? That was one of my heroes.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali. That was my
Yes.
hero.
You got to be willing to take a stance and can't worry about the outcome.
We call that morality. What is your purpose in life? I mean, are you going to be a straight guy? Are you going to stand up for what you know is right?
Right.
When I was a little boy, I don't know what the picture on the wall is, Mel Stewart,
Yeah.
movie star.
Yeah.
But there was a black man that when I was 6 years old, we were so poor. I didn't see an indoor toilet until I was 11 years old.
Yeah.
And down this alley from me was this rooming house with a lot of black men in it. You see the apparatus on the wall right there that came with the holes in it?
Yeah.
That's an agitator for a wash machine. They
Okay.
taught me that.
Okay.
Take a coffee can, a big coffee can, put holes all around it and the bottom. And you didn't have a wash machine, so we had the number 2 tub. So you put your clothes in and put a little detergent in it. That was my agitator as a little
Right.
boy.
Right.
But this man was such a good man, straight up. And one day, he was gone, and the other men in the rooming house, about 6 or 7, they started belittling Mr. Arthur Armstrong. And I was a little boy sitting there listening to it. And they had taught me to stay in my place as a little boy and
Right.
them being grown
Same
men.
here.
But I was sitting there chomping at the bit to defend this man. This man was doing some good stuff for us, man.
Right.
In the neighborhood, he was a
Right.
straight up guy.
Right.
And so I did this. I made a pledge to Lee Coleman. They call me Arthur. That's my middle name. I said I would never again in life sit around and not correct what I know is true.
Amen.
I'm not going to ever do that. And I
Same
have
here.
never
Same
done that.
here. Same here.
Right.
And it's cost me sometimes.
Yes, it costs.
It
you.
costs.
One day I want to get into it, but what they did to me at IDOT, because I had principles and I had a mandate and I had this code of federal regulations that guided my actions, which was done mostly through the 1964 Civil Rights Act, Title VI. I did that job. And what my wife would tell you, they followed me home. They took my car, they took my BlackBerry. They suspended me. They did everything they could. But like I told my successor, I hung in there, I stood in there, and I won. When I left there with a 6-figure salary and the best health insurance in the world. The best health insurance in the world. So we got to teach these guys. You got to hang in there and go back to your faith thing. You got to. I told this preacher one time, well, Lee, I said, Reverend, why don't you come on my TV program so we can talk about it? What do you think the mayor saw me sitting there? Because you knew that me and the mayor had fallen out. I said, what would Jesus have done?
Amen.
And all these preachers, I always ask them, you had a warrior,
A
didn't
real
you?
one.
So
A
what are
real
you
one.
scared of as a Christian?
Yeah.
What are you scared of as a Muslim? Stand
Right.
up.
Stand up.
Stand up.
And God will take care of the
Man,
rest.
stand. I did, and I won.
Yes.
I teach
Yeah.
Sunday school, and I heard it from a Muslim. You more fearful of what this world gonna do to you. You have more faith of what this world gonna do to you than you have faith in Jesus Christ saving you. And when he said that to me, what did I say?
Yeah.
I'm going right back to Sunday school and saying that.
Yeah. Because you can't serve two masters. So it gets about the solution is that we're gonna have to,
Education, alleviate the fear.
yeah, and we got to quit being so generous.
Mhm.
Now, what do I mean by that? Here's a plate. We've been sharing our participation with everybody.
Yes.
We got to say, stand on it. I don't give a damn if you take DVI, whatever you want to call it. You come down here with our tax dollars and we ain't involved, we're gonna have some bond money because we're going to jail.
That's
Yep.
the
That's it.
perfect explanation of what Title VI is. And I got a Title VI video. I want to make sure you guys get.
Okay, okay.
And it talks about the fact that you're not taxed. You're not discriminated when you're taxed. You're getting your tax money, right? They don't care you black or white.
Right.
Right.
So Title VI says if no discrimination when they take your tax dollar, there should be no discrimination when it comes time to participate.
And there you
with
go,
the tax
Lee.
dollar.
Right.
That's the point that they got our community leaders got to hear.
And
If
you're
they
paying-
come talking about we're gonna take DEI, take it.
Cause then they're gonna bring the warrior out in us.
Take
we
it.
operate
But who's
better.
gonna be?
But you cannot say that we're not gonna help the people that's on Heber. That's our.
We go back. He was talking about.
You cannot say you ain't gonna help the people on Sullivan. You cannot say you ain't gonna help the people on Davidson and Lillian
No.
and all these people that live on those roads is your constituents, and you must use that tax dollars.
You know what the
to
example
help
said?
them.
Just what you're saying. It said that either knowingly or unwittingly discriminate. So he said there's a park in a white neighborhood, and you're really not discriminating against the black park, but the dollars go to the white park, not the black park. That's a violation of Title VI.
That's exactly right,
That's a violation of
and
Title VI.
that's what we got to get our constituents to hear.
But here, check this out. We did a little video, and it was called talking to black folks.
Mhm.
It's your money.
It's your money, Lee. It's your money, Lee.
It's
And
your
that's-
money.
And that's what you got to get out there. That's
but
where
they don't that's
that's
the
where
education.
Dave comes
They don't
in at,
understand it.
and he's got to get them to hear that you're worried about something that you shouldn't be worried about.
Because it's your money.
It's your money. That's your money. You got to fight for that money. That's your pot. I told
It's your
them,
money.
you look at St. Louis, praise God. You look at St. Louis. 54% of St. Louis is a white population. 44% is black population. Now, damn it,
I want mine.
Hey, talk about it.
You want
Right.
mine.
See,
I had I had a white supervisor, and I accosted her about racism at IDOT. And she told me, get out of my office. I said, like hell I will. I'm paying taxes for this too.
right,
This is my office too. I'm not going anywhere.
right, right.
And that's what we got to do. We gotta, like he said, it's your money, and we want our cut.
That's it.
That's
That's what they want. That part in the bag.
Get your part.
Get your bag.
You know what?
Get your
You know,
44%.
one of the slogans in the 70s, cut us in or cut it out.
Hey.
I mean, and we got to be serious. That's what they did to
Well, we
him.
got to teach this, and we got to make it emphatically clear that you're going to be successful if you do this.
Yes.
And then you're going to. What about bring your brother along?
Exactly.
Bring your brother along, which like they told me about basketball.
Right,
I brought a tree with me, man.
right,
I sure did.
right. Now, there's another thing. In the city, you talked about it. You got these Asians with the nail shops. Well, we got to start tell them, patronize the sister with the nail shop.
Let's create them and then drive the business to them.
Right.
That's right.
We got two, and never thought this would happen. All these Arab filling stations, stop patronizing them. You got two filling stations.
And they treat you like it's crap.
That's black. We go to there if we got to rotate, like King had to do down at the bus boycott. Okay, sacrifices got to be made, y'all. If you want true economical freedom, Arab ain't putting nothing back in the community. He's bad as the white.
Then when it's not successful, he burns it down.
He burn it down and don't go to jail.
He burns it down.
Yeah.
And
guess what? Guess what?
Take your politicians with him.
Yeah.
You know what I tell black people? And I say this, because I did this for 15 years. Most of the solutions, they try to take it away from you. We never fully used it. Most of the solutions are actually in law. The Community Reinvestment Act at your bank.
That's right. That's right.
Tell that bank, man, what did you reinvest in this community? You got all our dollars in there.
Right.
Yes. You better give me some of that money for business.
Now, old man Bush, the first Bush, he started the Reinvestment Act,
Sure
right?
did, yeah.
Now, me and my brother, we had gotten all these contracts from McCarthy Fleming's, and we ain't had no money. But one of the banks, I ain't gonna say your name, was gonna merge to another bank. And he said, we got him. We got him. If you holler redlining, that stops the merger. That stops the merger immediately. So we was on Grand and Lindo for 5 days. When he denied us a loan, we went there and set him up, and we told him about the revolving loan. Said, I don't do that. Of course, you don't do that for black folk. But anyway, we protested. On the 5th day, we sent in Big Al, and he laid on the counter. White boy said, "This is enough of this." Somebody called the police. Police, when they came in there, the manager said, "Go ahead, we're gonna work this out," because they needed that merger. Mm-hmm. Okay, they did, and so we there's laws there. That's my point.
We got plenty of laws.
But we got to put the work in.
We can't let them. They've gotten hip to it now.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to eliminate it. But
That's
guess who's the biggest beneficiary of DEI?
They are.
They are.
Yeah.
They done flipped it on us.
Yeah.
They're like being woke.
Yeah.
They feel woke as another. It's the new N word.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you know where woke came from originally?
Us.
What's his name? I'm gonna call his name in a minute. It was a blues singer. Leadbelly.
Yes.
He said, "Stay woke." That when they were lynching brothers. That's
Yes.
what that meant. It has nothing to do with all the
came
crap.
from us.
But they took it and appropriated it and then flipped the script on it and got another meaning for it.
Absolutely.
And then we gonna have to these big, because we got more billionaires now than you and I ever seen growing up, Lee. They got to kick into the cause.
Where's the black ball players? Where's the black? I tell my nephew, where's the black entertainers? There's one or two doing some stuff. Man, you know how much power they got together collectively?
You Smokey and them didn't make, and Sam Cooke didn't make the money that they made, and they kicked in for the cause.
And guess what? That's the biggest debate we have. Well, what did Motown? Motown was sold for what, $63 million? Kanye worth $1 billion.
$1 billion.
Come on, man.
Jay-Z worth billions.
$1 billion. Beyonce was afraid to go out there and support, but we supported what she did at country and western because they appropriated country and western from blacks. That was black music.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And Obama sat over the other day next to Trump after he talked about your wife.
And giggling.
But guess what Michelle did?
Yeah.
When they go low, you go high.
Right.
Now she got everybody say, okay, we're going to take the high road. She ain't going to the inaugural.
Nope.
No.
So did she take the high road? I'm not saying she should have.
Yeah, right. No.
Well, don't have us all out there saying, we're going to be forgiving folks and we're going to be more benevolent and we're going to have more class.
Kumbaya.
And then here you are saying, I'm not going to the doggone inaugural.
Right.
But you shouldn't go. Obama shouldn't go.
No.
Kumbaya. That's
The way he talked about Obama,
And you over there laughing and talking with him. No,
Yep.
no.
you know.
There's a song when I met Dennis Edwards at the Galleria.
Okay.
And we were talking.
And that's that fear.
Man,
And that's that fear.
of what?
That's the
Yep.
problem.
Of what?
They
It's
fear
like-
them.
they fear them.
We would look.
Man, they
The
fear them.
Democrats want to always be. Well, let's just be chums. Can't we just be all Americans? And the Republicans are like, no.
But let's be truthful. In his genetic makeup is something inhumane about that Caucasian. They got reason to fear, but have some heart.
You remember the what they call
Step
it?
in. I'll be scared before I go to a fight, but with the faith of God, go ahead on and do it.
In 1884, they had the what they call it.
You're gonna die
It
something.
was something
Yeah.
in Berlin. I forgot what they called it. But
Yeah.
in Berlin in 1984, the European nations met. They had a map of Africa on the wall. And they were sitting there debating on what country they was going to take. Going back to what he was saying. And it's nature. They got to be in control of everything.
Everything.
They got to punish everything that don't look like them.
Yeah.
So I take Ghana. Okay, I take Tanzania. What about, Tanzania? But guess who picked Ethiopia?
Hitler.
The Italians.
Italian.
Italian.
Mussolini.
Yeah, what them brothers do in Ethiopia? That's the only African country that's never been
He couldn't get them.
colonized.
They wouldn't settle.
You got to fight back. And going back to what Dennis said, I told Dennis, and I said, Dennis, you know my favorite song that you sang? Papa Rosa. No. I've never been to me. You gotta go listen to that song.
I've never been
I've
to
never
me.
been to me. So we got to be to ourselves.
Mhm.
We got to get some of that.
We got to get some of that.
And sometimes, it ain't nothing wrong. Botham's brother had no business hugging that girl that killed over his brother. No, you think you're a bad Christian because you didn't? God in the Old Testament wouldn't have hugged her.
No.
She out now.
Hey,
She out now and killed that brother in his drawers, eating ice cream in his own house, sitting on the couch. He
Watching
dead.
TV.
and in the movement, we
And
got
she was a victim.
we gonna have to really screen who comes among us, because you know how some of us died that was in the movement. They'll sit him in there. Look at Fred Hampton. They put it in his food. One of his partners. Okay, story goes on and on and on. Because this is a real fight, and if one brother used to always say, "Look, if they lynched us for civil rights, they lynched us for political rights. If they lynched us for drinking out the water fountain, what you think they're gonna do when you talking about you want your fair share of this economical dollar?"
And we gotta we gotta stay on point too. This is about economics. We can't get into the fray of the mundane and the trivial. I really feel that we gotta fight the economics of this.
What we got to do, okay, there's 3 things that we think are solutions. One is education. What was the other one? The killing the fear.
Killing
Yes.
the fear.
And there was another one somebody said.
Make our politicians stand up.
Retribution.
I'm
Retribution.
gonna put a fourth one in.
But we got to do that though. We just can't say it. This could be some programs and some movement in those directions that's systematic, well thought out, and done. And then when we do that, guess what happens?
Right.
The politicians say, man, my
They're forced to be reckoned with.
my community want me to be against this bill.
Yeah. I like to put a fourth one down, and it's based on history. Whatever your religion affiliation is, keep that in your heart, but don't say I ain't working with Jeff because he's a Christian.
No.
I'm not gonna work with Mikhail because he's a Muslim, because that's an old trick that the slave master used. I'm not gonna mess with Lee because he got braids on. Keep your religious affiliation. I ain't mess with so and so because he's an atheist. If he's a good African American, a good human being, and we can.
Not only
Fight in
that,
the cause.
you ain't got to be good. Are you working for the cause?
Oh, you working for the cause?
That's what I want you to do.
Yeah.
Okay, we got education, retribution. What's the other one?
And whatever
Get rid of the fear.
get rid of the fear.
We gotta get rid of the fear.
That's retribution.
Well, okay, so
Not
we got
retribution.
education.
It's in the money.
Retribution is saying we asked you to kill that bill and you didn't.
Yeah.
So in return, like
Punish
Trump
you.
said,
You gotta
we're gonna
go.
punish you.
We gonna punish you.
And nothing wrong with that.
And then the fear is we can't be feared about what they're gonna do to us.
We ain't worry about that.
And then we gotta spread that word. We got that was the other one.
Right. And
Yeah, okay, that was education.
keep your religious affiliation to
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
You
We got
know,
a common cause. Know who
got
your
some
enemy is.
Common
Yeah.
cause.
But then here's another one that might go on the table. Know who your enemy is.
Yeah, exactly.
that's it. That's
And
deep.
and also that enemy can be within your own ranks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
what he
how
was
they
saying.
come.
Yeah.
That's how they
I
come.
remember we was at Illinois, and we know that they had discriminated against different positions on the football team. Can you believe that? Weak side corner had to be a black guy.
Yeah.
Strong side had to be a white guy.
Yeah.
You know, weak side you got a man on man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Strong side you got some help from the safety and some other folks over there, right? The linebackers, right? And so we formed this organization, and an economic professor, myself, and one of the football players. He's a judge. He retired as a judge in Peoria, Glenn Collier, and I think the economics professor's name was Roberts. Anyway, we formed this organization to attack that. And so we were meeting, and one of the football players, he'll remain nameless, one of the football players was coming in, going back reporting.
Mm.
And we was fighting for his cause.
Yeah.
My Lord.
I'm gonna give you two incidents. You sure right. One we know about that history. The two Jews and the black man that went down to Richardson folks to vote,
Mhm.
and they were gonna have a certain route. But this was on 60 Minutes. In the private meeting, it was just black folks. If the black man that went back and told the Klan what route they were taking, that's how they knew to get them. And then I'm gonna bring it up to our modern times. We I ain't gonna say his name, but when we stepped in leadership at MoClan and we was moving strong, we were protesting, and every time we thought we was having a private meeting, got there, the police was there. Now whoever you know you're hearing, you know what I'm talking about.
And that's a difference. We get everything wrong. That's a difference between Sambo and Uncle Tom.
Yes, yeah.
We let them, we had the wrong name geared toward the sellout.
Yeah.
It wasn't Uncle Tom.
It was Sambo.
Sambo was the dude that was telling the
Sambo.
Uncle Tom was a strong brother who was down.
Went down.
Harry Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Yeah.
Uncle Tom was the brother who was getting busy.
He wouldn't give in to him. But let me tell you what happened, Lee. So we said we narrowed it down to 3 people. So when we didn't the one, it wasn't him, the second one wasn't him, and the one we didn't let him at the private meeting. When we got there at the you know where those Chevrolet plant is on Union. We were there at 6 a.m. Police, and we were right across the street from the police station. Police were there, so we know who was the snitch, right? And so, yeah, true story. So,
what was he getting for snitching?
They gave him a few Judas, like they gave Judas. They gave him a few coins. He came contractor. So the white boy he was snitching to, I ain't gonna say that because he saw me and my brother going into the pasta house, and he said, "Hey, Ali, y'all," yeah, he said, "Look, I knew everything that was going on 20 minutes after the meeting. Y'all done found out who my nigga was." He ain't no good to me no more.
That's called meritorious manumission.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
That's what it's called. And they taught that to us in slavery.
Yeah.
You get merit for turning things in.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, I'm gonna end this thing right here, man. I appreciate you guys. We're gonna do this ad nauseum.
Yes.
And
I said I would do it, and I think it's important. I think also we're gonna have to go out here and get a young person to come here and talk to us.
Right.
I think it's important.
I think it is
that we find a young person that's willing to come in here and speak to us and tell us what is it that they see in America today, because they see America completely different than what we do.
And brothers that's out there, because a lot of them overwhelmingly went for Trump. You go see who he is, and you finna weep what you sow.
But you know what? Kamala Harris had a 100-day election. She had over 1.4 billion. That comes to roughly $14 million a day. When Trump said it was, I think she let those guys lead her down Primrose path because he had that kind of money. And you let Trump say on TV that a little boy can go to school, a boy, without his parents consent and come back a girl. You should have wore that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't wait for somebody else to do it for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're trying to be above the fray, like Obama said. And then they said they were eating the cats and the dogs and eating the geese. They found that was a lie, and they found it was a white guy killing the geese.
Yeah.
Play that up.
Play it up.
Talk about him
Yeah.
being a convicted felon.
Yeah.
Enough ad nauseum.
Yeah.
But they left TikTok and people like that to do it.
Yeah.
But she didn't do it.
She didn't do it. And
It's
so
still out by 1.5.
yeah, and I'm gonna say y'all, he finna starve you out. Now you got what you asked for.
Yeah, you got what you asked for.
He ain't
The
got,
levels eat your face.
yeah, you got what you asked for.
Yeah. Like
And if
old
you don't
folks
come
said.
on and join the fight, you gonna starve.
Yeah, like that
'Cause he
old folks
ain't
say,
playing.
don't believe fat meat grease.
He ain't playing. He know who he is.
But you know it's even worse now because he got Elon. He got the richest
And that
group
guy
of men
there-
around him.
You got the richest cabinet in history.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And Elon Musk. Now let's think
That's
about
an
where he
oligarch.
come from. South
South
Africa.
Africa.
Apartheid country. You know he was taught where soon.
And look what he said.
You know
Americans,
he
you
was taught
guys are lazy. You're not as intelligent as the Indians are. And that's who want to get those visas. And the Trump is saying, wait a minute. You
yeah,
as black as me.
yeah.
You want them jokers in our country with them with H1N1, whatever they do, visas?
Yeah,
Yeah, you
You
do.
see that?
Yeah.
You see
You
that?
see that, man?
You see that?
And did you see that Elon's Musk dad came on and said, "Don't listen to my son."
He
Did he?
Yeah,
He kind of
They
retarded.
made, they made national.
That's
law
almost as
that
bad as some of
please,
his cabinet
if
picks.
If you're going to do anything, do not listen to my son.
Well,
But then I'm gonna tell you that guy he's picking for FBI director.
Cash Patel.
I don't know where that came
Well,
He
Donald
wants
Trump.
somebody to do
Do
what he
his
wants to
business.
do
from.
his business.
Well, all
Yeah.
of them going to do is business.
Yeah,
Every
Yeah.
last one of them.
You see that
he won his own.
the lady for Bundy, for his attorney general, they said, did Trump lose the 2020 election? She said, well, Biden is president. Now, can you say he lost? Biden is president.
Yeah, they won't say it.
Won't say it.
Because he don't want it, man. I mean, he really sold the presidency
Yeah,
to Musk and those other rich guys. So,
Yeah.
and you can't do anything to him now.
no.
it's law of the land.
And the
Now,
Supreme
now,
Court.
why he's in office.
Now you gotta
They
worry
say
about-
Law of the land.
Is he
Only
gonna
thing
try
you
to-
can worry about is 2 years from now. That's your mission.
Well, I
You got
put
to
it
Get
like this:
control of the Congress.
You got to get control of Congress.
Yeah.
or he trying to do something to the Constitution where he can keep going president.
That's
for
a,
a while.
that's a tough road.
Do you want that? That's a tough
That's a
road
tough
home.
road
You
because he's
all
got
the
to get
states with
all the states
two-thirds.
and 2/3 of the
Yeah.
House and the
Yeah,
Congress.
he's not gonna get, but he wanted.
He wanted it. Yeah.
He said
wanted
that
it.
and said,
He won it.
"You Christians got to vote for me. I'm not a Christian, but you might have to vote in 4 years."
Right.
He said it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did Kamala Harris use that?
No, but he's that's gonna be a tough road because there's still people out here white
But
that will die for that
and here's
Constitution.
the last thing I'm gonna say:
Yes, I got
you got poor whites, you got Hispanics, and you got blacks. And like in this program we talking about now, the DBE program, guess who's the biggest benefactor of it?
the Hispanics.
White women.
Oh,
White
white
women.
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 Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So if he cut that out, and it's not about race and gender, she might be an ally
Yeah,
down the road.
You know what? I forgot all about
You
that.
hear what I'm
You
saying?
are. You are
She
She
right
might
about
be an
that.
ally.
She was-
It's
That-
gonna
that
fight for-
W.
Now they never helped us, they didn't get into our fights,
Right.
They stayed on the sideline, but black women were fighting for everything,
Right.
even
You
killing
know,
their
I
own
forgot
babies
all
and
about
abortions.
that.
Right.
But that white woman,
That W was getting large contracts.
when I was in office, the last number I heard was about 68 to 70% of all IDOT contracts, or contracts across the country in the DBE program went to white women, then Hispanics, and then blacks.
Forgot all about
And
that.
so, what is she gonna do about it? Let's see if she joined
Yeah.
forces.
Then maybe that enemy of the enemy becomes our friend.
But then wouldn't she sell her company to her husband though, and go back to business as usual?
It's too much.
Or
we
it's
gotta do.
already there.
Well, I didn't find a lot of that when I was at IDOT, and I had the second largest district. Those females, they basically own their companies.
Right.
They had white supervisors and things like that on the job, but they own those companies.
And they ain't letting him have it.
Nah, they're gonna keep it.
No,
But,
she
uh,
might
Well, I mean,
join
that's
us.
how a lot of them started. A lot of
They-
them
they
started
may have,
because
they may have.
dad put them in business, the husband put them in business. They started that way.
Yeah.
So,
But they're gonna suffer too if it's
Yeah,
done.
can
But
you
the main
imagine?
thing is that what we do,
It's all about
we got to
us.
get out there and make it known that we're not gonna accept what's happening.
yeah.
No.
That's
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up, man.
all right.
Right.
It's a pleasure.
And
Pleasure.
enjoyed it as always.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All righty, take
All
care.
right, take it.
All right, man. I have got to use the restroom one more
Y'all
time
must say
before I go.
Yeah, I
y'all
gotta go
there.
too.
Yeah, I did almost, man.
When you come out, I'm going in, Jeff.
All right, buddy.
You got something sticking on your back. Yeah, man.
I started to mention that about that